Mike Vick, man, 1-year deal, restructured. Now, a lot of people were a little confused, including myself. I'm like, oh, well, I thought he signed a 6-year, $100 million deal. But that was all like each year was sort of like a by-year basis. Like that contract had to be renewed every year.
Yeah.
It wasn't 6 straight years you're signed with us. So that's why that contract pretty much went null and void. And now he has this 1-year contract that could be worth up to $10 million, but as low as $7 million. $3 million incentives. One of the incentives that actually is $1 million is win the Super Bowl. So he can only reach that $10 million mark as if he wins the Super Bowl. So already you're starting at $9 million because I don't think this Philadelphia team's going to win the Super Bowl in Chip Kelly's first year. So we could throw that $1 million out. So now he's at 1 year, $9 million. For a guy that some considered a franchise quarterback just 2 years ago, $9 million is a hell of a deal to get this guy at. For what he's given you the past couple years, $9 million, he might be robbing them. Last year, he had 2,300 yards, a little bit more, 12 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions in 10 games. Now, that doesn't even include all the fumbles. Close to Mark Sanchez in turnovers last year. But he got ripped up just as much in the Philadelphia media as Mark Sanchez got ripped up in the New York media. Only difference is the New York media gets a little more of a national recognition. So I think Mark Sanchez got a little bit more of a beating tonight than even or this year than even Mike Vick could have got. But I mean, the real question is this the right move or wrong move? Does he fit with Chip Kelly? Does he not fit with Chip Kelly?
He does, because Chip Kelly runs an up-tempo, fast-paced offense. He needs a quarterback who can move and do some things. Vic can do all of that. It's a different style of offense. But I think a lot of quarterbacks, like even Steve Young said, he goes, I wish, I go back and play in this system right now. A lot of people a lot of quarterbacks like this system. So,
well, yeah, because they're taking less hits.
I like the fact that it's a 1-year deal, so that if it doesn't work out in a year, it pretty much gives them a year to figure out whether Foles is going to be the next guy coming up or whether it's going to be Vic for a couple more years.
Well, I have a hard time believing Foles fits with Chip Kelly's offense as well as Vic does, but it's all how you execute it. And I think that's the interesting part, is that if Foles executes this offense better, then he still may be the starter. And that would just be pretty sad.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it would be. I don't see... I don't know, man. Because I'm a little hesitant with sitting here being very confident in the idea of Michael Vick having this contract and being successful. He has gotten consistently worse each year since he's come back from being in jail.
Yeah, but I've explained to you why that is. Andy Reid tried to turn him into Donovan McNabb. He's not Donovan McNabb.
No.
He was very successful in the offense he ran in Philly because it was geared around him. Andy Reid decided to try and change him and gear him towards his system. It did not work. That's why I'm saying this Chip Kelly offense might not work for him, but that's why I like the 1-year deal.
See, I don't know, man. I know what you're saying with him trying to make him like he's Donovan McNabb, but 8-3 in his first 11 starts for the Eagles back in 2010. Missed time because of concussion and injuries. He threw 21 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions in those 11 games. Over the last 2 seasons, he's 10-13 with 23 starts. He's thrown 30 touchdowns and 24 interceptions. So how much is it the system and how much is it him for throwing interceptions? I mean, you got to point some of the blame at him for bad decision-making, trying to make more out of nothing. And, I mean, a lot of his fumbles come out of him with the ball out here trying to dodge and weave and maneuver. And look, those are the things that when he's successful at it are #1 plays on SportsCenter's top 10 and their YouTube video hits all over the place. And we're talking about, him making an unbelievable play that you might never have seen before or might ever see again. And wow. But he can't do those anymore because he's not 26. So how much is this really about him having to accept the fact that he's not the athlete he used to be and having to actually throw the ball better and more accurately and, for lack of a better comparison, be more like a Donovan McNabb? Look, McNabb beat you with his feet, but it's not like McNabb was taking off on you for a 70-yard touchdown. McNabb could beat your linebackers and your heavy 300-pound defensive lineman to the first down marker and got out of bounds. He was a very smart quarterback with how he ran. You want me to, if I'm going to name a running quarterback that reminds me of him, I'd go more like a Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson wasn't trying to break tackles and, juke you and run 70 yards. He gained what he could gain and he got out of bounds. He was a very smart quarterback with that kind of thing. But he's also not the athlete that an RG3 or a Kaepernick or even what Vick was when he was in his 20s. So I guess to me, the question is how much, like I said, how much does it more have to do with him accepting the fact he's not the athlete he used to be compared to Andy Reid trying to make him something he's not? Because
I put a lot of it on Andy Reid. I really do. He traded away Donovan, and he thought Vick could step in and do the same things. He can't. He's not that style of quarterback. Vick uses his legs a lot. Maybe he's a fraction of a second slower than he used to be, yeah. But is he still one of the faster quarterbacks in the league?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Can he run with Kaepernick, RG3, Cam Newton, those guys? Absolutely. And he does have a decent enough arm.
He can still get it down the field.
He's not a pocket guy, though. He's not a pocket guy. I think that giving him this 1 year, like I said, that's the whole key to this thing. Not the fact that they kept him on the contract that he had before. Not the fact that he, is going to be there long term, but that it's a 1 year tryout. It's, hey, we're inviting you to camp. We want to pay you this money. You could still possibly lose the starting job to Foles, if not in training camp at some point during the season if you don't perform. And if it works out, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If it doesn't work out, they can cut ties with him clean and easy next year.
Well, that is the one positive, is the fact that they can cut ties with him whenever they want to, really. Even during the season, if they want to, they can cut ties with him. Even that $7 million is not a straight guarantee. Only part of this contract is actually guaranteed to him for sure. The other the rest of it's broken down over his game checks, and then at the end of the year, they figure out their incentives with him. I do think that Mike Vick has a chance to really be successful in this offense. And at the same time, I have a feeling that this offense could really just hurt when it comes down to the idea of implementing it. Because they have some of the athletes they already need. Let's be serious. LaShawn McCoy, Jeremy Maclin, and Deshaun Jackson are pretty much exactly the kind of players that Chip Kelly loves to have on his offense. But the quarterback, look, he was running it with a redshirt freshman. He was running it. He was running it with guys that were pretty new to the offensive scheme and the players they were working with and all that anyway. So on a serious note, let's be honest, you can definitely say there's a shot that this really does work. There is a very good chance that this really can work. And at the same time, just like Philly's seasons have gone over the past few years, there's a chance they could just go straight to hell because their defense still sucks. Their secondary still is not good. And I guarantee you, I never thought I would have said that, me personally at least, if you go back a couple years ago when they traded Cobb to get Rogers Cromartie, and they were able to get Namdi Asamoah off of the free agent market. I would never have guessed that you would have said that I would be saying these words right now, but I am. Their defense has sucked. And I think a lot of that's due to the fact that you took an offensive line coach and made him defensive coordinator. So that'll be interesting based on Chip Kelly and the defense coordinator he brought in.
He's bringing the Pac-12 defense, which is a slight step above the Big 12 defense. I'm expecting the Eagles to give up about 28 points a game and score about 31.
Okay, so you think they're going to be just like a Big 12 team?
Yeah. Well, a Pac-12 team. They don't play a lot of defense out there either.
You know what? I got to say, I really just... I think it's going to be interesting to watch. I really do. You know, are they going to run a read? Are they going to run the read option a little bit? Or are they going to, you know, like... Because Vick's so prone to injury, you got to be careful with that as well. But I think it's funny that you bring up that point. You could see it being like 31-28 a game for Philadelphia this year, and really bringing that Pac-12 defensive mindset.